Pat Welsh here. You know what that means? Taco Tuesday. That's right. Take action, crush obstacles. Here with episode 2 of the Warrior Servant Leader podcast. Glad you're here. Hope you enjoyed the first episode. Got a feeling of where we're going with this stuff, and you're back for episode 2. So thank you very much. So today, tough challenges. We're going to talk about tough challenges from a warrior servant leader mindset. How do you engage tough challenges? And sometimes it can be toxic employees. They're a tough challenge. Sometimes it can be the work assignment, the tasks that you're given to do. Those can be tough challenges. Some days the tough challenge is just getting up and going into work. What we see and do and have to deal with as police officers in a career far exceeds what anybody in the normal work world would never face. Homicides, assaults, just all sorts of stuff. Nobody ever calls the police going, "Hey, can you have an officer stop by? I'm having a really great day, and I would just like to share my good day with one of your officers." No, our job is to interact on a daily basis with the least, the last, the lost in our communities, people who are struggling, facing hardships, they're being victimized, they're down to their last thread of hope, and they don't know what to do, and they call the police. Those are tough challenges. And with those tough challenges, we have what I call a fear factor. And this is what fear stands for in my world. On the one hand, your fear can be forget everything and run. You just want to ignore stuff. You don't want to deal with it. You're hoping it just goes away. I kind of tease when I'm on the speaking tour and the training tour around the country that I'm 100% Irish. I was born in Ireland, lived in an orphanage from the time I was 3 days old. My birth mother was a widow. And then when I was a year and a half old-ish, about 16 months old, I was adopted to the United States. And my one youngest daughter, a few years ago, she just absolutely insisted, "Dad, you got to do 23andMe." She had done it, and she goes, "I'm finding people that DNA were related to all across the world," and she's telling me about her DNA, 50% of which is from me. And I said, "Sweetheart, I'm 100% Irish. I was born in Ireland. I have nothing in me DNA wise other than Irish." And she goes, "No, Dad, you might have, sub-Saharan, this, that, and the other thing." And I go, "Okay, I'll take the test." So I took the test. Guess what? It came back 100% Celtic. The islands of the UK and Ireland, 100%, not 0.1% of anything else. And I tell people when it comes to this fear factor, one of the Irish ways of, I think genetically, we deal with things is if you ignore it long enough, it might be replaced by a bigger problem, or it may just go away due to lack of attention. Well, that's no way to live your life of forgetting everything and running every time you have a difficult challenge enter into your life. So I have a different definition of fear. It's that we have a fear factor there. It's built into, and I'm not talking about, horror movie fear and that kind of stuff. I'm talking about the fear of facing and dealing with things. And so that's my acronym for fear is face everything and respond. And you do the best you can, and you seek out help when you need it. You ask for guidance when you need it. You ask for other people's opinions. You study, you learn, and you face everything and respond. And in our jobs, in our careers in law enforcement, there's a lot of things that we would just assume forget and run, especially when you start getting promoted up the ranks. And here's how you typically, a lot of times, I guess, uh, deal with challenges, particularly if it's a challenging employee. Uh, let's make them somebody else's problem. Let's transfer them. Let's send them to dispatch. Let's send them to the property room. Let's send them where they can't do any harm rather than deal with what the issues are. And I'd highly recommend you read a book. This book is called Danger, Duty, and Disillusion, A Worldview of the LAPD. It's by Joan Barker. It came out in 1999. It was recommended to me as soon as it came out. Somebody recommended it to me. And I was 13 years into my career. And I read this book, and it was like a gut punch of it was me she was talking about in the book. And what Miss Barker did, she was working on a master's degree, and her thesis for her master's program was what influences the worldview, the world outlook of police officers, and how does that come about? How does that worldview grow over a period of? And she was only going to do the study for 3 years. So she got permission from LAPD, and she embedded with a recruit class in their academy. And she was going to spend 3 years from academy to year 3 on the job and get all the data, all the information, all the metrics, all that academic stuff to write her thesis, which she did. But her study, she actually was so intrigued by what she was learning that she made it a 20-year study. And when it comes to this tough challenges perspective, I want you to read this book so you can see where you're at in your career, what she identified as the 5 phases of a law enforcement career. Where are you at? Where are the folks that you're working with at or that you're responsible for? Where are they at in their career? And these phases aren't linear. I've read this book multiple times. I've done some other study and research on some of the things that she identified, and I've come to the conclusion that these phases, they're actually circular. It's not linear. You don't go from phase 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 to 5 and then you're done. So when it comes to this whole concept of tough challenges in life and how you're going to face everything and respond, it's extremely important that you understand where you're at psychologically, physically, spiritually, emotionally, and where your folks are at, particularly if you are in a position of responsibility over them. So phase 1 is this idealism phase. That's what she called it, is idealism. And she equated it to basically altruism, that we all signed up and joined law enforcement for a reason bigger than ourselves. It's the same in the military. It's actually the same in any career path. You start on a career path because you have something greater than yourself motivating you, something altruistic. And for law enforcement, every one of us was asked in the interview process, why do you want to be a police officer? 99.9% of us, I'm sure, I said it, well, because I want to help people. And that's altruistic. It's something bigger than yourself that you want to give back to the community. And not that it was, well, I couldn't find a job anywhere else. So you all were hiring. So I thought I'd apply. Don't hire those kind of people. You want to hire people that have a vision and a mission of why they want to get into this profession. And she identified this as that first phase, and you go through a very rigorous process in most cases to actually get selected to join a particular department and go through their academy or go through the state academy or community college, wherever it's at. And background checks and oral review boards and polygraphs and physical assessments and drug testing, and you go through all these hoops to just get accepted into the academy. And when you make it, there's a sense of accomplishment. You have achieved that initial goal of getting into the academy, and then you get in the academy and you have to learn a lot. It's very regimented. You're memorizing state laws. You're doing PT. And there's immediate consequences for failing. In our department, it was 2 tests and done. If you failed 2 tests, you're out of the academy. You failed firearms, you're out of the academy. All those things. So very regimented, very goal oriented. There was timetables, very structured. Ours was 16 weeks long. Some academies now are even longer than that. And when you finally pass everything and you take the state post test and you pass that, and now you are certified to be a police officer, and you've achieved an incredible goal, and it's a feather in your cap kind of deal, and it reinforces in you the motivation to get out there and start being a police officer. What happens the first day you show up at work and you're assigned an FTO and jump in the cruiser, and what's that FTO say to you? Mine said it to me in 1986, and every FTO, I think, says this. It's one of the worst things we can say to a new graduate, new police officer. They're not a recruit anymore. They're a cop. They said to you, forget all that crap you learned in the academy. You're going to learn how to be a real cop. And that's the first time that a little balloon is popped in their idealism. Is forget everything I just learned. I just spent 4 months or 6 months or whatever it is, and I'm going to be on probation for 9 months, a year, or 2 years, or whatever it is. And the first words out of your mouth are telling me to forget everything I learned. And that's a little bit disheartening, but hey, we go, you're probably right. You never worked midnights. It's different, a different world. So yeah, I still have a lot to learn, but I should be building on what I've already learned. And so over the next 3 years, what you're doing is you're finding your niche. And she calls it the competency phase. That idealism is there 1 to 3 years. You're still very idealistic, if you will, still motivated by helping others. But every day that passes, a little bit more stress gets put on you, a little bit more pressure gets put on you. You have that first fatality, and you've never seen a dead body before, or it's a homicide. My first 3 weeks, I had a murder suicide. And I'd been a prosecutor. I was a prosecutor turned cop. I'd seen all the photos from homicide investigations, but this was the first time that I saw 2 dead bodies: the murder victim and then the person that killed them committed suicide. And you just start building up all these things going on in doing your job. And you're working midnights now. You've never worked shift work. You may have scattered days off. You may have regular days off, but this is a dramatic change from your pre-law enforcement career. And unless you were raised in a cop's family, this is all new to you. And so you work midnights and you get off at 7 o'clock in the morning, and you got to be in court at 8:45. So you're not at home getting sleep. So just a lot of stuff is building up. But in that first 3 years, you're finding your niche, your competency, what you like. Is it traffic? Is it drugs? Is it violence? Is it, gangs? Whatever it is, you're finding your niche and you're becoming pretty good at it. By the end of year 3, you're in your competency phase. Things are going relatively well. You're adapting. You're now one of us, a police officer. You're part of that family, that brotherhood. But here is what has happened to you in the rest of your life. You have started drifting away from people and friends that aren't cops. If you're married, you start having some conflicts, if you will, with your spouse, with your kids. You're working nights. You're trying to sleep during the daytime. It's summertime, and kids have sports and things to go to, and you're getting a little bit stressed. You're starting to face challenges that nobody told you about that were coming down the pike. And so in years 3 to 5, that competency phase is well in place, and you're now entering phase 3. That's the disillusionment phase. And then that phase is you start having behavioral signs of you're not happy. You're disillusioned. This isn't what I signed up for. My spouse doesn't understand me. My supervisor is a jerk. He doesn't know, or she doesn't know what it's like to be out there shagging 30 calls in a shift. The chief doesn't know what he's doing. In my situation, I had in 26 years a total of 8 chiefs. And that was actual chiefs and acting chiefs. So life expectancy of a chief in my career was basically 2 or 3 years. And so you're riding this roller coaster of administrators. The police are getting beat up in the media. Incidents that had absolutely nothing to do with your department, a George Floyd incident or whatever. You suffer the slings and arrows of the community and the media. And all this is building up, and it's creating this disillusionment in you physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and you have to resolve it. And that resolution can take, and phase 4 is resolution, that you resolve what you are disillusioned about. And for many cops, that resolution is you retire on duty. You got 10 years on the job, basically about now. You're too old to lateral entry. You're not old enough to take a service pension. You've been fortunate; nothing serious has happened that you would qualify for a disability pension, and you're stuck. You're not getting promoted when you wanted to. Just all sorts of things are going on. So you retire on duty. You're going to do the least amount of work and collect that paycheck. And you will ride out the rest of your career hiding in the shadows and just ducking and trying to stay out of trouble. And then you'll hit phase 5, which is actual retirement. At some point, you got your time in. You have your KMA letter in your back pocket, kiss my ass letter. You know exactly the day and time that you have your 25 years in, and you can drop your papers and walk away and retire. And that's the 5th phase is retirement. So that's retired on duty is one avenue. Another resolution is you quit the career, or you do have the ability to lateral entry. or start over, and you look for a different department or a different agency, or if you're young enough, you haven't hit 36 yet, you're young enough, and you go, hey, I think I want to be an FBI. I'm going to test for the FBI, or I'm going to test for Secret Service or DEA. You're going to go somewhere else. So you either physically quit the career and find something totally different to do, or you try to find another agency because, the grass is always greener on the other side. Yeah, right. You still got to mow it. You still got to take care of it. You're just changing faces and names. You're still going to have the same phases, even if you go to another agency and you have this idealism of how it's going to be so much different. And they'll run smoother. Things will be better for a while, but you'll find your competency, what you're good at that agency. But I guarantee you, things are going to happen in your life, whether they're in work or they're in your personal life, that's going to smack you upside the head, and you are going to be disillusioned, and you're going to go through the resolution phase all over again. What I'm telling you that you're facing in your career is no different than the phases you go through in your personal life. You look at getting married. You propose to your spouse, or you accept a proposal from your future spouse because you have this idealism of how marriage is going to be, and that you have a mission and a vision, and you project down the road of I'm doing this because it's something greater than myself. And what happens in every marriage faces challenges, whatever those might be. And you have to resolve those challenges. And how do you resolve it? Over 50% of the population resolves it by getting divorced. And then, you have find a new person that you've fallen in love with, and things are going to be better, and you remarry. Statistically, 64% of all second marriages end in divorce. Statistically, over 70% of third marriages end in divorce. It's a cycle. And unless you have the tools and the commitment to break that cycle, you're just going to keep repeating it. How about you got little ones? It's no different for your kids. Little ones that love first grade, love second grade. Now they hate third grade, and they come up with excuses of why they don't want to go to school today. Oh, my tummy hurts, or this, that, or the other thing. And this behavior is out of the ordinary. This is not them, and they're disillusioned. Something's going on in their life that this isn't what school's supposed to be like, and so they have to resolve it. And the resolution for some of the kids is they pulled I got a tummy ache. Some kids start skipping school. Some kids run away from home, depending on what age they are. Everything. These phases are every part of your life. If you were an accountant in the private sector, you'd be going through these same phases professionally. And why I share this with you is because in our world, we are, along with firefighters, we're really the only two professions that 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, you call us when you have a problem. And so when we get in this disillusionment, and I wrote an article years ago in Law Enforcement Today, and the heading on it was, I effing hate people. I had to use, symbols for the F word. I effing hate people. And that was published online. In the first 15 minutes, I think I had 1,200 views of the article. And I probably had about 1,000 comments of that I was a jackass. I didn't know what I was talking about. And I was a pencil pusher. Because if you read the article, the first 3 sentences were supporting, I hate people, and here's why. Nobody understands, uh, what it's like to be a police officer. Nobody understands me. They haven't walked in my shoes. Therefore, I hate people. The first sentence of the next paragraph said something to the effect of, if you truly believe this, get out of this profession. You're in the wrong profession. You cannot be in law enforcement and genuinely hate the people you are sworn to protect and serve. And your attitude, that hatred, is it's bad for you. It's bad for the police department, and quite frankly, you're going to be getting other cops hurt because you may disrespect and treat somebody like a POS because you hate everybody and you're bigger and badder than that person is. And then someday that person is going to interact with an officer that's not bigger and badder than they are. And they're going to take their anger at you out on that cop. And there's no place for that. And I understand the pressures and the stresses of this job. Been there, had panic attacks. I know what this job can do to you. I've been on hundreds of homicides. I've been on just countless fatal car accidents. I've seen the worst that man can do to mankind and do to another person. I get that. I'm here to encourage you, to tell you that rather than forget everything and run from that, is face everything and respond. And if you know where you're at in these phases, you know where your people are at, you see that change in behavior. You see that start abusing sick leave, start getting increased complaints of rudeness. And you're like, that's not Tommy. Tommy, I don't believe it. It can't be. But you get 3 complaints in 1 week for the same thing. That's a red flag. Something's going on in Tommy's life. And it may not be about the job. It might be something going on at home. It might be something going on internally. That they maybe they have some health issues. I don't know, but something's changed in their life, and you have to face that and respond. It's your challenge. It's not just their challenge. It's your challenge. Whether they're your supervisor or they're your equal, as far as rank goes, if we truly believe in the blue line, we believe in the blue family, would you ignore the same signs and symptoms from a blood relative that is struggling with challenges in their own life and go at the Kermit the Frog with the little Lipton tea, sipping it, going, it's none of my business? Yes, it is your business. And then you need to have the skill sets and the resources, how you can help that person or help yourself. Asking for help. And it's not just asking for help. Here's what cops are famous for. You get recognized for doing something outstanding. And it may even be the Medal of Valor. Outstanding. And you get on the camera when the news is covering it, or people compliment you, congratulate you, and you diminish that recognition by saying this: I was just doing my job. No, you weren't. You were doing more, going above and beyond your job, and are being recognized for it. Be gracious and humble and accept it and just say thank you. The flip side, though, is when we are struggling, we're afraid to ask for help. We don't want the stigma that we think is out there, that if I ask for help through EAP, employee assistance, or I go to a supervisor, or I go to a buddy cop and tell them what I'm struggling with, that somehow I'm going to be lesser of a cop. I'm going to be lesser of a human being, and that therefore I'm not going to ask for help. Because one of the things of resolution that many cops take is more cops, active duty police officers, take their own lives than are killed in the line of duty. Suicide is a resolution. It's the ultimate resolution, and it's unacceptable in our profession, in any profession, in any family. Suicide is not and should not be an option. So be conscientious about that, especially in the behaviors you're seeing in the folks that you're working with and the folks that you're supervising. Is if they're struggling, get them the resources and help to make a good resolution decision, not that ultimate, there's no coming back from resolution. So that's kind of my take action, crush obstacles. Might even throw that in there. That's kind of like a tough love Thursday instead of a Taco Tuesday. So I hope you find something positive out of this. I want to end on a very positive note of what this looks like. It's not anything extraordinary. This is just in your everyday life, professionally and personally. If you have this mindset, this warrior, servant, leader mindset, that warrior that you're going to stand up, show up, and defend what you believe, that servant mindset of putting the wants and needs of others before your own, and that leader mindset of I'm going to be a person of impact and influence in the lives of people we meet and that we deal with professionally and personally. So I want to leave you with kind of a little bit of an uplifting story of what that looks like and how simple it is. I get called on the radio by my sergeant, who used to be my partner until he got promoted. And he's on a call with two other officers at a house on a family trouble. The adult son, he was 28 years old, had basically was having a meltdown and needed to be taken to the hospital for a 3-day involuntary evaluation for his mental health issues, or what it appeared to be a mental health issue that was causing the breakdown, this meltdown. So I get to the house. There's an ambulance there. There's a cruiser of the officers that were originally dispatched, and the sergeant's cruisers there. And I go in the house, and as soon as I step in, it's a little small bungalow house that had plaster walls, not drywall. And when I walked in the door, there's plaster on the floor in the living room. And on the other side of that wall was a bedroom. And I kept hearing this rhythmic thump against the wall with this voice going, "Oh God, thump, oh God, thump, oh God, thump." And it's just very rhythmic. My sergeant's standing maybe 15 feet away with his arms crossed. He's outside the bedroom door. And so I walk over. I said, Sarge, what can I do? He goes, "Well, we've been here almost an hour, and we need to get this guy out of here into the hospital it's called a pink slip, fill out a pink form and get him a 3-day involuntary evaluation. And we can't get him out of the room." And while we're talking, I keep this rhythmic boom, thump, oh God, thump, oh God. The guy's mom and some relatives were in the living room as well. My sergeant's African American, the family's African American. I'm a 150-pound, 30-some-odd-year-old white guy. And I go, "What can I do? What can I do to help?" And he goes, "Well, here's what we want to do. You go in, jump on top of him, and then try and just get on top of him. And then we'll come in and try and get him handcuffed and pull him out." I go, "What's the ambulance for?" He goes, "Well, it's for you or him." And I'm like, "Okay, I don't want to go to the hospital, because what I hear coming is this is going to be an all-out brawl, and I'm going to be not on the bottom of the pile, but I'm going to be in the middle of that pile of swinging fist and nightsticks. So I said, can I at least talk to the guy? And he said, yeah, sure, go ahead. We've been here. We can't get him out. So I go in, I turn to go into the bedroom, and I realize I call this guy Mini-Mike. This guy looked like Mike Tyson, but a miniature Mike Tyson. And I'm like, no shirt, no shoes, no socks, sweating profusely, sitting on the floor between the wall and the end of a bed. It was a small room, maybe 8 by 10 at the most. And he's just rhythmically rocking back and forth and banging into this plaster wall. And he's almost catatonic. He's just staring straight ahead. So I go in, I squat down. I'm a few feet away from him, kind of I'm more than an arm's reach. I don't want him to reach out and grab me. And I go, hi, I'm Pat. What's your name? Thump, oh God. Thump, oh God. No eye contact, nothing. So I try again. Hey, my name's Pat. Can you tell me what's going on? Thump, oh God. Thump, oh God. So I stand up and I go out in the living room. I ask, who was his mama? And the lady goes, I am. I said, is your son religious based on what he's saying and doing? And she goes, well, my husband was the pastor of our small church congregation. He died a couple months ago. They were very, very close. And my son separated from his wife since then and children. He's been living here. And tonight he just cracked. And this is what's going on. I said, okay, thank you. I go back in and again, having that warrior servant leader mindset and face everything and respond instead of forget everything and run, because I could have taken the sergeant's advice and just dove on top of him, and we had to use force to get this guy out of here into the hospital. But I squatted down and again, I'm keeping my arm's distance. And I said, I asked him one question. I said, who do you pray with? And he stopped rocking. He turned and looked at me. I could see his eyes were clear, so he wasn't high on any, drugs or anything like that. And he goes, nobody. And I said, isn't there somewhere in the Bible where it says something like, where two or more gathered in my name, I'm there with you? And he looks at me and he very politely says, yes, sir. And I go, well, I'll tell you what, if I agree to pray with you, will you agree to stand up like a gentleman, get dressed, and let me take you to the hospital to talk to somebody about what's going on in your life for you to have this episode? He goes, yes, sir, I will. So then get up and get dressed. And he did. No handcuffs, no ambulance. I took him out, put him in the back seat of the cruiser. We had cages. He wasn't going to ride up front with me. I still had officer safety in mind, and put him in the back seat of the cruiser. And then I kept my word. And I just said a very brief prayer with him. And then I took him to the hospital, to the emergency room, and got him signed in and did all that. And I left. I came back the next night. I stopped by the house and nobody was home. So I came back the next night to the hospital and asked how he was doing. And they said, he actually was not having a mental health breakdown. He had 102 fever, and that's why he was sweating so bad. And he has pneumonia. So he was admitted to the hospital overnight for the pneumonia. And by the next night, when I stopped by, he had already been released from the hospital. But that's what it means when I say you need to know where somebody's at, to sit down then and help them resolve whatever that challenge is that they're going through. It's nothing dramatic. It is just fundamentally having that servant mindset of putting the wants and needs of others before your own, having the warrior mindset. I'm going to stand up, show up, and defend what I believe. I believe in protecting and serving my community. I believe in helping other people, even if I'm having a bad day. So I want you to take that as uh, a encouragement that what I'm sharing with you is very doable and very possible every day of your life, personally and professionally. With that, it's been great spending this time with you. I look forward to next Tuesday. We'll drop another episode of Taco Tuesday, taking actions and crushing obstacles. And remember this, always, always strive to do the right things at the right time, the right way, and for the right reasons. Love you all. See you next week.